Hello everybody, it's me Heather, and today I have a first impression. This is the CK1 Color Neutrals Redefined eyeshadow palette. This is available exclusively at Ulta. Right now it's available online starting January 25th. It will be available in stores as well. I purchased this back towards the end of December, right before I went on my no-buy for this month, and it has just been sitting around. I haven't had a chance to play with it, I haven't swatched it, I haven't done anything yet. I have opened it and looked at it, but that is it. So this will be a pretty honest first impression. The white on here might be throwing off my white balance. It'll get better as we go throughout the video once I get this white box away from my face. So this retails for $38, and when I very first opened this up and took a look at it, my initial impression was, wow, this looks really cheap. Like on camera it might look a little nicer than what I'm seeing here in real life, but when I first opened this up, it is really lightweight, and this is just kind of really, it's slightly magnetized. You can tell it's like slightly magnetized. It's cardboard. It's really cheap looking. You know, I mean, for something that's, you know, Calvin Klein, you automatically think it's going to be, you know, kind of avant-garde or, you know, cutting-edge fashion. You know, you think it's going to be a little more special than just cardboard. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting, but yeah, when I first opened this, I was just like, whoa. So I do like that they have the names of the shadows on the box, on the back. But let's go ahead and open this up and let you guys take a look. So it does have also, as well as the shadows named on the back, it does have one of these little dust covers that has the names on it as well. It has a little mirror, and here are the actual shadows, which I might as well just flip this over so I don't blind you guys. Let me see. Comes with a dual-ended brush, which is actually kind of cool. You know, it's something a little different. You know, I got a dual-ended brush, but anyways, let me show you the actual shadows. I'll stop teasing. So the actual shadows, when you see them, it's actually a pretty selection of shades. You do have, you know, shimmers, and you have what looks like they're probably satin, not quite matte, look like they're kind of satin finish. Another thing too, again, I don't know how well this is translating on film here, but in person, this just looks really cheap. The shadows look beautiful. The shadows are really pretty, but the way they're presented in here, it looks like there's a paper-thin pan of eyeshadow in here. That's what it looks like. Like, I don't know how deep in that goes, but it looks like you'll swipe it a couple times and it'll be gone. You know, it looks like when you get an eyeshadow sample and, you know, they have them on the little card and you swipe that once and it's gone. That's what this looks like. It looks like it's an eyeshadow sample card is what it looks like, but the shadows themselves look really beautiful. So let's go ahead and swatch these and see how that is. I'm just going to do finger swatches simply because swatching on my hand, or excuse me, swatching on my arm, I never feel that really translates how pigmented these are. I find that you just don't know until you play with them and put them on your lids. So I'll do finger swatches, and then I don't have any eye makeup on. Well, I have my eyebrows, but I don't have any eyeshadow, any of that. So I'm going to play with these and try to throw a look together, and then I'll give you my overall review first impression. All right, so let's do these swatches really quick. That's the top row, and there's the thumb right there. So I have to say, though, my very first initial impression just swatching these, they have a very, very smooth, silky touch to them. So it's a very nice texture. It doesn't feel dry. And the pigmentation just on the tips of my fingers seemed actually quite nice. It didn't take a lot to build that up at all. So let's try the second row. So again, the pigmentation on these and the texture of the shadows feels very, very nice. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just throw a look together and see what happens. I'm going to use eyeshadow primer because if I don't, I find most eyeshadows just don't stick to my lids anyways, and my lids get oily over time and then they crease. So I am going to use some eyeshadow primer. I've applied eyeshadow primer. I'm going to start with this shade here. I'm going to go ahead and use the little Calvin Klein brush for some of these. This shade is called Impulsive, and it's just like a light satin pink. I'm going to apply that liberally on my brow bone and towards the inner part of my eye here. I'm going to take the other end of the brush here, and I'm going to take this color right next to it. It's kind of like a explicit. It's called explicit. It's kind of like a green olive. It's kind of like an olive, and it looks like it has kind of gold shimmer in it. I'm going to apply that all over my lid. I am experiencing a lot of powder kick up here, and I think it's just using these fluffy brushes. Tend to do that with a lot of eyeshadows anyways, but so far I'm liking the pigmentation. This shade was a little sheer on me, but again, I think it's just the brush because it's fluffy, and fluffy brushes tend to disperse product, and that can make it go on kind of sheer. So, all right, let me go ahead and let's do some more here. Let me take this little champagne shade right here, and I'm going to put it on the inner corners of my eyes very liberally. I like how this shade, it's kind of champagne-y, so it's got a lot of warmth to it, so it's not that, you know, really white, light, you know, bright inner highlight on the eyes. So I'm actually kind of liking that. It's kind of blending in, so it's an interesting neutral palette. Okay, I'm going to take this shade here. It's kind of a, it looks like it's a cool leaning satin brown. It almost has a touch of purple in it, and it's called Truth, and I'm going to put this in the crease. And I'm just going to take a clean brush to help blend that out. Okay, I'm just going to take this black shade here. It looks like it's a black satin shade. It's called Undone. I'm going to put that in the very outer corner of my crease, just to add a little bit of definition, a little bit of dimension. Just blending it right into that corner. And I'm not doing the outer V. I'm not making a V. I'm just literally just dabbing that right in the little crease corner there. Okay, I'm going to go back into this shade again, Undone. And I'm going to just pick this up. I'm just using a pointer brush or a liner brush. This one's from Real Techniques. And I'm just going to draw a line on the outer corner here and pull that up. Now I'm taking a fine liner brush. This one is from Real Techniques also, and I'm dipping into this. I'm sure you can see, it's kind of a dark navy blue, but it has a ton of shimmer in it. It's got kind of like green, silver, blue shimmer in it. This is probably going to be my favorite shade in the palette. A really unusual shade for a neutral palette, and it is called Indecent. And I'm going to use this to line underneath my eyes. Okay, I'm taking an angled brush, and I'm just going to go back into this shade here, which is, I believe, called Undone, the satin black, the black satin shade here. This is just an angled liner brush, and I'm just going to use this, tap it off really good, and I'm just going to draw a line on my upper lash line here, so that we can just have a smoky eyeline. Something a little different instead of always using, you know, liquid black liner or pencil liner. Just make sure you tap off really good when you do it. And then you can just draw a line, and you can also smudge that out, blend it out with the same brush. And it gives it a nice soft, subtle line that doesn't overpower the rest of the eyeshadow. I'm going to blend a little more right there, just a little, not much. I'm going to apply some mascara, and then I'll be back with my final thoughts, my first impression review. So let's get on with the review. Okay, so my overall first impression is I do like the palette. The only shade that was a little iffy to me was the shade Impulsive, was this little pink one here. It did go a bit sheer on me, but it actually works out quite nicely with this look. Instead of giving an overall shimmery highlight, it is a satin finish, so I do like having a more diffused, soft brow bone highlight as opposed to a 90s full-on frosty highlight. So it was nice if you're using it for that purpose. But as an overall eye color or lid color, it's probably going to be more sheer. But the rest of the shades I used did have very good pigmentation. They built up quite easily. They blended very nicely. At first glance, I think it's kind of a strange selection of shades for a neutral palette, but CK1 Color really pulled this off quite nicely. I can really see myself gravitating towards this neutral palette more than the other neutral palettes I have, which are mostly just, you know, browns and taupes and creams, and those can get a little boring. And I love that they have a mixture of textures here. You have satins as well as shimmers, and like I said, the color selection is really quite unusual. You got kind of this gold olive green going on, you got this navy blue sparkle, you've got this brown that you have to see this in person. As I said earlier, it's a very cool leaning brown. So it has almost like purple in it. It's not really so much a red tone, but kind of like, you know, purple, got red and blue mixed together in there. I don't know, it's a really nice shade of brown. It's not your typical super duper warm brown. So very nice, pretty neutral palette. I do like the way the look came together. Downside is, and I rarely complain about this, I'm usually just like, hey, it's what it is, just tap off your brush, you're good to go, but I'm actually going to say it for once. These are extremely powdery, so anytime I put my brush in, it just kicked up so much product. So really, really, really make sure you tap off your brush extremely well before applying it to your eyes so you don't have a ton of fallout. Usually I'm not concerned about that because I always tap off, but it was even just, you know, I'm holding this up so you guys can see it for most of the time. Whenever I was tapping the brush in, like, product was falling into the shadow down below. So, you know, be careful if you're messing with the brown, or if you have this upside down for whatever reason, you don't want the black falling in there. So yeah, super duper powdery. That's pretty bad. So my cons with the palette are, first off, it looks cheap. I mentioned this before, I can't say it enough. It looks cheap, it feels cheap, and then the shadows are super duper powdery. But even with those downsides, I think this palette's worth checking out. I really like the shades they selected. I love the way they're paired together. The layout's really nice, even though, like I said, it looks cheap and the formulation's powdery. I just want to drive it home. I don't want anybody to get this and be like, hey, you didn't say this was powdery. It's powdery as hell. But I love the way this look came together. They blended very nicely. The pigmentation's very good. So it's almost kind of 50-50. I can't say it's good, I can't say it's bad, but I can say it's definitely worth checking out and that I do like it. So, and this is just random, but in case you guys are wondering what's on my fingernails, I'm wearing Pool Boy from Obsessive Compulsive Cosmetics. This is one of those nail colors that people always ask about, so I wanted to go ahead and throw that out there. And on my lips, if you're curious, I'm wearing the LA Splash Lip Couture Lip Lacquer. This is in the shade Ghoulish. So, in case you guys were wondering, and I do actually have a couple more of these that I'll be uploading a video of lip swatches of these for you guys and a review. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think of the CK1 Neutrals Redefined palette. Do you think it's worth $38? Are you going to pick it up? What do you think of the look I came up with? Pros, cons? Let me know. I love it when you guys interact with me. I'm going to try to bang out a bunch of videos this week since it's going to be the move-in date for my new apartment, and I still have a lot of planning to do with that. Still got a lot of stuff to pack up, so I'll do a little bit of vlogging here or there. I'll try to keep those super short for you guys so you guys don't get bored since this is a makeup channel, but I also want to keep you guys in the loop so you know why I haven't been uploading as much as I would normally like to do. But I think that's it for this video. All right, so go ahead and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr. I'm pretty active on Instagram. And questions, comments down below. Like I said, I love it when you guys interact with me. Just you guys have been leaving the best, most interesting comments lately. I've really been enjoying reading those, and I'm going to get around to answering everybody because that's, you know, the fun part of YouTube is the interactivity. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.